That was so cool. Funny, I see an owl. Owls are important to me, and I tell you why, real quick. Um, when I belonged to this circle, we would move it around a little bit. And one time we went to a person's house, gosh, way out somewhere in the woods, and we're meeting, and it was very good. And the meeting ended, and I was given a young lady by the name of Carla. You know Carla. That's
Okay.
last name begins with B. And
Mhm.
driving home, and I couldn't find my way because it's in the middle of the woods. This huge owl flies in front of us.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, stupidly, I said, Carla, did you see that? I mean, it almost ran us off the road.
Mhm.
I'm being a little over dramatic, but the thing was huge, and owls are such mysterious creatures of messages.
Mhm.
And when I was looking to publish my first book, Mary Ellen, I didn't know anything. I
Mhm.
still know very little about the publishing and the writing world and being an author. And I put it on Twitter. I mean, I'm on Twitter, but I rarely go on. I don't have that much interesting stuff to say.
Mhm.
And the company that reached out to me is Wisdom House Books, and their icon, their logo is an owl.
Uh-huh.
And so Wisdom House, I like them because they're independent. They're small company out of North Carolina. And so when I saw that owl, I went, hey, my buddy, my friend. So
That's awesome.
I don't know if everybody heard me. I was just talking about how I beat my grandson 3 games out of 4 at Uno. And I was a little bit late coming upstairs to the loft. But
Mhm.
my grandson's 5 years old. So, yeah, I have 61 years on it. I mean, come on. I should have won the 4th game. But I feel like Homer Simpson. Uh, but anyway, it's great to see you. You look beautiful. I got all the bookshelf and everything. And
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I want the bigger view or the close-up view. I'm having some hardware issues with the browser actually recognizing the webcam, but it's always something. So,
yeah,
but anyway, you look good too. Are you feeling better?
I am feeling really good. I have to get blood working off a lot, so I'm used to the poking and
Mm.
the arms. But no, I'm feeling good. My wife Mary first mentioned this, and I think she's true. I don't know if my voice will ever get back to what it was. I think this is it. If this is it, that's fine. If people can hear me. But it's been 15 months since the transplants,
Mm-hmm.
and being incubated or intubated.
Oh, maybe. Mm-hmm.
I'm a medical idiot. My wife really should be a doctor
Mm-hmm.
because of everything she saw, the procedures and all that. And
Wow.
I am feeling really good. And I just signed up the day after Spirit Fest Sunday. That Monday, I signed up for a chakra reading with a young lady by the name of Sabrina Jones. I don't know if you know Sabrina.
Mm-mm.
And she has just evolved into um, such a tremendous young lady with all of her gifts,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't had a chakra reading in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people use that little frequency thing, and I think that's what she's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to keep improving. You got to keep learning. I can't stay stagnant.
Right.
I quit reading metaphysical books because there's so many different opinions,
Mm-hmm.
and so now I'm reading more science oriented.
Mm.
Although I gotta tell you, these UFOs keep creeping into the news.
Right.
When you
Right.
have, whether you like them or not, Marco Rubio's on this committee. He said we don't have that technology,
Right.
and they're saying we. And so, anyway,
Well, welcome everyone. As we just kind of launched in, the owl just sort of set off the theme, the tone for the evening. We're already getting questions and comments from people that are really excited about our topic. But these are
good,
good
good,
ones
good,
too.
good.
The science really lends itself to all communicating with the other side and really how that works and what that is. And that's one of the things that I'm really interested in, is the science aspect of it too.
Yeah.
But several people did say that your voice has improved over the last few months, that they've
Oh,
noticed.
God bless you. God bless you. because
I
I
think so
whispered
as
for a
well.
long time. I whispered
Right.
for a long time. And then when I was in the hospital, people had to try to lip read. And
Mm,
I couldn't have done it.
mhm,
But they got to where they were pretty good. So for several months, I couldn't talk. So then I had
mhm,
to use a little thing that you put right here. And
mhm.
so, well, thank you. Thank you. God bless. Now, I'm excited about science too.
Mhm,
I've been listening a lot to Deepak Chopra, who I really love. I
mhm.
can listen to him. Reading the books is difficult for me, but I can
Mm,
listen to him. He talks
interesting.
about merging the science and the spirituality together. And
Yeah,
that's something science really pushes back on.
yeah.
It's like I'm reading about consciousness.
Mhm.
Nobody can describe it. I mean, everybody
Right,
has their own opinion.
right.
And so, anyway, I
And
love
that's
the
what
science.
why scientists only want science. They only want facts and tangible things that they can prove. But that's the thing with metaphysics and consciousness, is that there's so much more to it. And once we can figure out that we're limiting ourselves by not using our consciousness, our intuition, and the innate
Yeah,
abilities that we have, that's really going to be the key to it, I think. And then that lends itself to ETs and
yeah,
UFOs. And once we stop really being concerned about what type of spaceship we saw in the sky and more concerned about who's driving it,
yeah,
and then we're going to learn, so much more about how advanced they are. And part of it is a lot of them are telepathic. They don't even need to talk. But imagine, and we're going to get to our topic here of spirit communication, but imagine if everyone around you was telepathic and they could read every thought instantly. You're going to have to change every single thought that goes into your head,
yeah,
because you can't look at somebody and say, "Ooh, I don't like those shoes," or "Oh, it's
yeah.
them again." You can't.
It's a whole paradigm shift.
Mhm.
Um, and when this discovery of ETs really becomes mainstream, um, some organized, I hate to say organized religions because it has such a negative connotation. I'm Catholic and I love my church, but they got problems. They got issues like everything. But I
Mhm.
look at it more structured spirituality, community. I like the community aspect. But it's going to set a lot of religions back on their head, maybe back hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah,
And you know,
we'll
anyway,
be okay. We'll be okay.
we'll be fine. Did you ever see the movie Mars Attacks?
No.
Oh God, it's a hysterical movie, just hysterical. My gosh, it's got Jack Nicholson, it's got a bunch of big stars. It's a comedy.
Uh-huh.
It's about people from Mars coming down, and we release these doves to welcome them, and they start shooting them down because a dove. If you think about it, I know it's funny, but seriously, a dove to us is nothing to somebody who's never seen a dove.
Sure.
Anyway, Mars
Anyway.
Attacks.
Okay, so spirit communication, and it's 12 minutes past the hour, and that's why I wanted to get onto it, because there's so many stories that people can tell about the signs that they think that they, have been in touch, or somebody from the other side has been in touch with them. Graham asked early on here, what is the strangest method spirit has communicated through you for a recipient?
Um, oh, that's a great question. A couple of times I've had messages. It hasn't happened in a little while, but messages that have come through, and it wasn't for the person. It was for the person to deliver the message to somebody that they knew. In other words, this person was now meant to be a messenger, and it came through loud and clear that this message isn't for you, but it's for the person who trusts you. So in a way, it was just
Mm,
like the old game electricity where you hold hands and all that. Um, and that's been strange. Spirit communicates in our house. When
mm-hmm.
we're downstairs, it sounds like a clogging convention up here at times. It's just so much noise and so, and but through me, that's probably one of the strangest ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like I don't channel Jesus, but Jesus has come through. Not often, not
Mm-hmm.
often.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple of weeks. I can tell you, Jesus came through when I was in the hospital because I called his name out so many times.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
and, yeah, and I could, and there was one time when I couldn't get up and walk, and he said, "Let's go, let's go, let's go." And I didn't feel a cow prod in the butt or anything, but he was saying, you got to get up and walk, Jerry. And so, but channeling, a lot of times I do channel my higher self as opposed to beings or people.
That's an interesting point, is how do you know the difference, whether it's a being, a spirit, a master, or your higher self?
Yeah, with my higher, well, first of all, when I hear random words and random thoughts, things I wasn't thinking about, things that have no use of, not no use, but if somebody mentioned Catholicism, okay, well, I'm a Catholic, so maybe it's a memory of something that's interfering with the message. But I did a reading last week, and this young man he mentioned the circus, and the woman said, I don't know that he liked the circus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he ever went to the circus. She emailed me 2 days ago. Beautiful person, said, they're setting up a circus near my house, and it's on his birthday. And
Wow.
and so that's why, that's why the people of past can give us so much insight. I haven't been doing this long as Graham has, and I don't know if any strange things have occurred. I've not been able to channel beings, and it could be a blockage, and maybe the chakra will help clean some of that stuff up. But yeah, I have had animals come through, not like communicate with them here on Earth, but I have animals come through, and because they call us pet parents, they don't call us pet owners. We're pet parents.
Right.
They're like our children, and they have a soul. They do. Everything has a soul, and it's just like everything moves and has a soul. And so I've had the dogs come through. I've had there was one time I was working with the group from Grief to Hope, and most of the parents had lost children. I think there was 10, 11 people there, and out of the 10. Out of the 10, only one person had not lost a child. And a lot of them were suicide. And they said, we meet with our own circle up here at the same time Grief to Hope meets with their circle. And I thought that was tremendous. Wow. And that's a great explanation of what happens. How I'm able to distinguish between higher self and I feel when the message is deep within me, it's a higher self. It's like your soul is the essence of who you are. Your soul is the essence of your spirit. Your spirit is the breath of God, or the breath of, I call it the breath of divine energy, because everything's energy. And so I think you just know when there are times that it's tough for me to tell between spirit and somebody who's talking, because they're talking at the same time. And there's a lot of times there's two people talking at the same time. I see one person, and all of a sudden the other person's behind them. I don't know if they're playing a joke or what, but
do you hear it in their voice or in your voice when you hear them, multiple people talking?
I hear a voice. Sometimes it's a different pitch than mine, and that's kind of how I recognize that maybe it's someone who's passed. It's like we always say there's a voice in our head, but a lot of times we can't identify if it's male or female. It's just a voice in our head. It's that soul talking to your intuition, telling you, hey, listen, may not want to do that. And so, and when I hear two people talking kind of alike, or I hear a message sounds alike, that's what makes it difficult. Because we all have kind of a gatekeeper that works and flows, and I gotta be said, most of the time I don't ask, and I know who my gatekeeper is. He's actually a Catholic priest that helped me convert to Catholicism. Somebody else identified for him, Monsignor Morris, God bless him. And but my fault is I don't ask him at times, can you one at a time, so I can tell who's coming through.
What would you say, like when people are alone and do you actually hear footsteps in your house upstairs, or what is it that's making the noise?
It's footsteps. Most of the time the sound's kind of coming from the walls, and when we go upstairs, especially when we go to bed, we hear the walls popping. And it's a fairly new house, it's not an old house. we lived in a house in Winter Park for 25 years. We had it built, and it didn't make any groans or sounds. And this house is, I don't know, 9 years old, I guess. And at first, it took us by surprise. We're like, "What is that?"
Mm-hmm.
There was one time Mary was gone. She used to work. She used to run retreats down at San Pedro Center, and she would run all these summer camps for the whole summer. And I was downstairs doing work on the laptop, and I heard boom, 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 boom. So, oh, that's Mary. She's gotten up, and I can hear her. Oh, wait a minute. She spent the night at the camp. She's not here. It was so, but all the mediums have been here to say they like the atmosphere. It's clean. It's good spirits, good,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hear all this, and at times it does sound like footsteps. It's not ghost, it's spirit. And we know this. There's a difference. So
how do you know?
Well, it's that essence that you feel. I don't feel like anybody is trapped. When I'm upstairs, I'll hear stuff downstairs. And it's that essence, it's a feeling, it's that sense that the sense that this is good. This is not anybody who's trapped here on earth. Can't move forward. This is spirit. And we actually had a circle up here at one time, and the people who had never been in our house went, "Oh my God, the amazing energy in this." I say office, but I just call it a loft now. It's where I do my readings. They said the energy in here, and we heard all kinds of noises. Not like ghost hunters where you hear a big thump and they'll go, "Oh, what was that? What was that? What was that?" And they start turning. I'm like, "Buddy, you could come to my house and our house, and you could film a whole session." But we have that feeling, that sense, and you have that feeling, sense that it's not scary, it's not frightening, it's comforting. It's it is what it is, right? I think you just know. So
Moxie had a question here. She says sometimes when she's in a deep sleep, she thinks she hears someone yell her name.
She's not crazy. She's not crazy. I just did Moxie. I love that. Moxie life. Whoa, an attitude. I love it.
She's got
I did a reading with someone just a few days ago, and she has heard her name as clear as day. And you can be in a deep sleep. There's times I've been in deep sleep and I've heard Jerry, and I think it's Mary, and I'm looking over and she's sound asleep, but I've heard it. I think we all have at times. And so you're not crazy. It's loved ones, or it's spirit, whoever. I don't think it's my higher self, because I don't think my higher self can vocalize like that. At least mine can't. But it's from the other side, from the realm, and it's comforting. Yeah, it's comforting. So Moxie, you're not crazy.
Okay, and I don't think she's the only one either.
No.
Yeah.
You've experienced it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not even at night, but sometimes throughout the day.
Yeah.
You just think.
And the way they communicate with us is just not all the same. I try to tell people all the time, I have lost a lot of people, and only my dad has really come and visited me in my dreams. And it was a real visitation. My brother, who I was close to, passed away, oh my gosh, May 12th would be 2 years. And he was a Methodist minister for 35 years. He had no problem with my gifts. And I loved him. He was my only sibling. And he's not come through. My mom's not come through. My aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, none of them have come through a visitation. They choose other means. They choose either music. You're thinking of a song and maybe it reminds you, and all of a sudden, boom, there's that song. You're thinking of their date, and all of a sudden the license plate in front of you has their birthday, or more importantly, their passing date. Their passing date seems to have as much, if not more, significance than their birthday.
Interesting.
Anniversaries, could be a wedding anniversary, could be a wedding anniversary. I just said wedding anniversary. I'm sorry, I repeated myself. So there's so many ways that communicate. Electronics going up and down. If you watch the series Surviving Death, and I think the fifth episode had signs, and there's lights just going crazy. They filmed it, and they're just they're not possessed. That's why some people choose, just like we choose to communicate as people differently.
Yes.
Some of us are introverts, some are extroverts. So,
Well, and it's also hard for them. So you mentioned things with lights. An electrical phenomenon is kind of common. Something might turn on or turn off, especially lights. Lights might flicker. Radios, especially when the old TVs, they get snowy, and then you'd hear something, or really interesting things like that.
Yeah.
But it's not easy for them to do that. Just like if they were to appear as a ghost, it's very, very difficult for them to lower their vibration to come down. And because we're so dense, in order for them to take that form again, that's why they don't just show up.
Yeah, it takes a lot of energy. They have to go, like you said. By the way, when are you going to start your metaphysical class? I'm waiting to
All right. Okay.
They have to change dimensions, and it takes energy. It takes a different type of energy. That's why a lot of times they don't jump in to dreams a whole lot. They communicate through other ways. I have somebody that had a book fall off the shelf, and bam, it was a message. Excuse me. And they just do other things. I've never seen a full body apparition. If I see one at 3:00 in the morning, spirit knows. Not my thing. I'm going to scream like a 5-year-old girl. I don't want to see that. They know I don't want to be frightened. So there's just so many different ways. Because look at us. Again, we communicate different ways. Email, telephone, Zoom, in person. And you're right. It takes a lot of energy to do that, and different type of energy that they're not used to. And
Susan says she's had a conversation with spirit, and with them flashing a light on or off as a yes or no. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we did. I think if you have that rapport and they understand you really want no answers, I think we've got to remove the borders and boundaries of what is acceptable and what is not. I believe that. It hasn't happened to me, because it hasn't happened to me doesn't mean it hasn't happened. So I believe it, and that would be cool. Have her tape that if you can. That'd be cool. If spirit allows.
Right. It makes me think of what was the show that was so popular, where she strung lights over the wall and then drew the letters on there.
Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Stranger Things?
Yeah. My daughter said, "I know you do that for me, Mom." I took it as a compliment.
I haven't watched season 3. Gosh,
they're all as good as the others.
I know.
Anyway, Stranger Things, yeah. So,
great series.
And then we talked about electrical things, and then sometimes you will feel cold air if a spirit is there. Similar to orbs. Orbs and photos, 100% spirit. There's so many video, and I don't know how they can discount that and say that it's, not something scientific, but when you see something go in a straight line across the room, it's not a bug, it's something else. And then some of the photos with orbs that have shown up is amazing. That's another way they would communicate with us, or that you would be able to know that they were there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you turn off the borders, turn off the filter, so to speak, and just say, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to be, I'm going to accept whatever comes through. It's just, and I need to do more meditating. That's one thing I need to get back to. I've fallen out of it. Well, but I preach meditating a lot, and I got to do what I preach.
Yeah. It's so beneficial. It's more than just 5 minutes of quiet or silence.
It's you're right. It's therapeutic.
Yeah. There's a real good book written by Dan Harris. He's an ABC anchor, and it's called 10% Happier. I've actually got it over here. We'll be selling it at Spirit Fest, which I will get to. here, let me, I got a puppy underneath my chair here. But in it, he talks about meditation. So he is considered himself an atheist. Come here, puppy. I just backed over his little paw. He had a panic attack on the air. And the doctor told him that he needed to do something or he was going to have a heart attack. And he discovered meditation, and he's such a fan of it now. He even does a podcast about it. But he said that it is so good for your brain. It's almost like going to the gym and doing exercises, or, strengthening your muscles. It's strengthening this muscle up here, so even 15 minutes a day, easier said than done. Sometimes 15 minutes, I'm just getting my voice to the monkey mind to, to quiet down. So,
well, when I was in the hospital, my heart would fluctuate, go way up. My wife, Mary, is the one that taught me to breathe. Mary Ellen and people, I never thought about breathing before. I just did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I could hear the heart go down like it should as I was learning to breathe. And I'm like, oh my God, all my life.
Right.
I just breathed. I didn't think, even in meditation, I'm trying to breathe the correct way. And I say the correct way, it's not correct way, but the way that would get me the most benefit.
Yeah.
And so I sat there and I just focused on breathing until that would get down, because I didn't want to have an anxiety attack or a panic attack or whatever.
Anyway, that book was very helpful for anybody who's got anxiety. It's not just about meditation, but and how to handle that, because it is really beneficial. They started out showing the video of him having the panic attack on the air, and it almost makes you have a heart attack or a panic attack watching it, because you just know that feeling. It's just all.
Well, years ago I went to a therapist because it's funny. I would go to the airport, I'd break out in sweat. Once I got on the plane, I was fine. And I asked the therapist, I said, that's normally backwards, isn't it? He goes, you're not having a panic attack. You're having the fear of a panic attack. You've worked yourself up that you think you're having a panic attack. You get on the plane, you figure, okay. Now I'd get on the plane and go, breathe, turn on some air, breathe. And it was a problem because I used to get on a plane just about every week. And so you're right, the breathing, and I need to incorporate that. I need to meditate tonight. I will make a promise to you, Marianne. I will meditate tonight. And to the people watching.
We'll get to some readings here in a few minutes. So if anybody has a question for Jerry, if they have a specific question from Spirit, or if you just might like a message from Spirit, please write it in all caps, and we'll get to that as we come. But other people are making comments about having TVs or electrical things come on, and that they felt that it was a loved one reaching out to them. Yeah. So I just try to imagine what it would be like. I think that we have more of a sense of knowing over there, but I would want to do something to let somebody know that I was in the room, especially if I knew that they were open to receiving some type of message, Yeah,
especially people I didn't like here on Earth. Let me follow them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, because there's some things that happen, some of your audience knows that there's no logical explanation for it. And to me, if there's no logical, rational, speaking of my book, Beyond the Rational Realm, because everything we look at is rational here on Earth. Science, like you said, wants to prove or disprove. People who are of a spiritual nature, and if they don't understand it, they label them New Age, and then they walk on. They walk on. They just forget about it. Well, that's New Age.
I consider things like metaphysical, the topics that we're talking about, similar to what you might keep in a supply closet at work. Yeah, you're going to have pens and pencils and Post-it notes and clipboards and half-used pads of paper and random things that you've collected over the years. And, if you might go in there and think, I don't need some of the stuff that's in here, it doesn't mean you're never going to go in there again. You just take what you need. You take what resonates with you, what works for you. And, that's it. Don't discard everything just because, you can't. Like reincarnation, for example, some people just really don't, think that that's something that they, have room for. Well, so that doesn't mean to dissuade everything else. So
No, what you say is, I may not agree with it, but I'm going to listen to it.
mhm.
I did a retreat with Richard Rohr years ago, and I
Oh
came.
wow.
Oh my God, it was amazing. And unfortunately, he's battling cancer for the fourth time, and he's 70, 71, and
Mhm.
I pray he'll make it through the end of the year at least. He's a phenomenal writer, but I could listen to him all day long. And a lot of times he reads with no notes. It just comes. It's like God talking.
Mhm.
And what I said at the end of the retreat, toward the very end, we had 150 men. It sold out at San Pedro. And what I said was, I've come to start judging from those. I've come to start learning from those who I've judged for years. Is
Mm.
there something I can learn?
Mhm.
And Richard Rohr is the one who always said, I like to ask pain. This is a guy, his fourth battle with cancer. I
Mhm.
like to ask pain, what is it you're trying to teach me? Because he looks at everything as a teachable moment
Mhm.
from God, from the universe, from the Catholics would call it the Holy Spirit, but let's say from spirit.
Mhm.
From those, everything is a teachable moment.
Yeah.
Everything. And
Including loss and grief and a lot of
absolutely,
things that we talk about
absolutely.
on here. So that's beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about Spirit Fest before we get too far in as well. And before we do
Yes.
that, I'm going to put up our website, sanctuaryfl.com. That's FL like Florida. Because if you will go there, all of the information about our upcoming Spirit Fest in Orlando will come up. And it is going to be our biggest fair yet.
Oh
60
my gosh.
vendors.
Yeah.
And Jerry is doing a mediumship gallery Sunday morning. It is almost completely sold out. So if you are interested in going, please go and make your reservations right away. And you will be signing your books afterwards for everyone, whether you've
Yeah.
gone to the gallery or not. So, but it's going to be incredible. We've got Hippocrates Health Institute going to be giving 2-hour lectures, one each day. Incredible about quantum health and science and just fantastic. But all kinds of healers, different practitioners and crystals galore and jewelry and a lot of really great things and other authors and artists too. So it's a weekend after this, April 10th and 11th at Avanti Palms, which is on North International Drive, right near Universal. So it's pretty close and convenient to everything. Free parking. It's $10 a day. Children 12 and under are no charge. So anyway, we hope to see everybody there, but do check out our website, Sanctuary FL. And while we're talking about websites, if anybody would like more information on Jerry, you can give them your website.
Oh, sorry. I was too busy practicing my smile because I don't smile much. So I was on.
jmexmedium.com. And then you can find out more about perhaps giving a longer reading too. And I can say from my personal experience, they are incredible. You never know who's going to come through. Usually the people that you want to come through do, usually, but you can ask questions and they're really very good. So let's start with Susan is interested to know about her current healing journey. What has Spirit got to say about that?
That's a great question, Susan. Thank you for asking the question. The very first thing I'm getting, Susan, is this journey is going to lead to another journey. This journey isn't over yet. Most healing journeys aren't. It's kind of a lifelong thing. But there's healing of the heart is what I'm hearing that needs to take place. And there's some deep wounds there. And I always say, Susan, wounds of the heart are the deepest because they take the longest to, quote, get over. We never get over. It's a Willie Nelson song. It's not something you get over. It's something you get through, which is a beautiful song by Willie Nelson. And I think you will get through some of these pains of the heart. But I see another healing journey. And quite honestly, I am hearing that you're a healer. And so Spirit's really going to be reaching out to you to actually use your experiences to heal other people. I like that drawing. I really do. I like that drawing. And I feel there's been kind of an awakening with Susan because, it's rare that you hear somebody talk about a healing journey. So strong metaphysical gifts with Susan for sure. Mm-hmm. And Spirit's going to be using Susan, you more and more. I have a feeling Spirit's using you now. I have a feeling your connection to the universe or connection to Spirit is pretty strong. And but there's another journey to take, I think, that will give you much pleasure, much peace, and happiness. And you're going to help in healing others if you don't already. So thank you, Susan.
Okay. All right. Graham had a question about his youngest daughter's health. And that being said, we don't do health readings per se. We don't read or diagnose, but what has Spirit got to say about his youngest daughter?
Yeah, so what I'm hearing, Graham, Brother Graham, I look forward to finally meeting you. Folks, he's going to be doing readings at Spirit Fest. Check him out. Him is beautiful. I don't know if Sandy's going to be there or not. I'd love to meet Sandy and Graham. There's a fairly big bump in the road coming up for your youngest daughter, but the pain for me looks like from within. And, well, that's where a lot of pain starts. I get that. But so I see a bump in the road concerning her health and bed rest. And I'm not a physician. I tell people I just get what I get. But there's a healing that needs to take place, and Graham's a healer too. And Graham's is really good with medical stuff. And,
yes, he is.
But I think this is beyond Graham, not beyond Graham, someone different than Graham, and not beyond Graham. I don't know if anybody heals as well as he does from a mediumship standpoint. And that's just a feeling I get in conversations with you, Marianne, about Graham. But there is a why can I not heal her? Why can I not? And he's given her a lot of energy. I see a lot of energy. It just needs to break through kind of the darkness in her heart. Once that breaks through, I think it will. I think it'll take some time. And there's somebody near her that isn't well. And that negative vibration could be a coworker, could be, I don't know, she's married, could be whomever, a partner. Let's just say a partner. And I think she's an empath, so she's picking up that energy. And And so what I'm going to do is, I don't know her name. I'll pray for her tonight. I'll pray for everybody, maybe not by name, but I'll pray for everybody tonight. Oh my goodness, I didn't light a candle. Shame on me. That's because, I don't know if everybody heard me. That's because I was busy beating my 5-year-old grandson at Uno. Feel really proud about the accomplishment. I think I should get a plaque.
I have one here, if that helps.
But on to more serious things. And the spirits tell me, Graham, there's a solution for this. It's more organic and holistic, but there's a solution for this.
Okay.
And anyway, I feel good about the end result. I don't diagnose that, as you know, but I feel good about the end result. But I'm looking at a bump in the road.
Okay.
And sometimes we have to, I don't want to say hit rock bottom, but to realize,
He's confirming everything you've said.
What's that?
He's confirming everything you've said.
Yeah, and I do see a brief hospital visit.
Okay.
Trust me, Graham, I was in the hospital for 8 months. It's not going to be 8 months. Brief hospital visit.
Okay.
Like 3 days. I can never get my camera right, but 3 days. Okay. Love you, Graham. Glad you're back.
I will pray for her as well. So if anybody has room on their prayer list, please.
Please. Let's all pray.
Graham's daughter. Okay. Tammy Conrad wonders if her loved ones have a message for her.
Yeah. Tammy, she looks like a judo person with that. Is that a judo outfit? One of those?
Tammy, is that you, or is that? I'm thinking if it is, it's an older picture. I haven't seen you in quite a while, but I'm not sure. Let's see what she says.
Yeah. So what they're saying is there's three loved ones. one for sure with a father-like essence. Don't know if it's her father, but there's a father-like essence coming through. It could be father-in-law, somebody like a father-in-law, a grandfather who's like a father. I don't know. I'm just getting father. And he's doing this to, well, Tammy has more hair than I do, but he's doing this to the back of her head to kind of comfort her and say, don't worry. And I say this a lot. You don't own everybody's issues. Even family members, you don't own their issues. We all have enough on our plate. And make your self-talk positive. This is what somebody once told me. And I got to work on that because I get kind of negative. You listen to the news, you get upset. And make your self-talk, Tammy, positive, and realize that your life has super value. And don't get down on yourself. And that's what they're saying. They don't like it when you get down on yourself. And they said, you have so much potential. And you make, and I can only identify the father-like essence, you make all three of them proud. I'm not sure the mom is there. It's two women and a man, but the man seems father-like. And they're just proud of you. And last year, take away the pandemic, Tammy had a rough year last year. That's what Spirit says. They're not showing me because it's none of my business, but a rough year. Don't know how this year started out, but the second half of the year is going to be amazing for you, Tammy.
Awesome.
Amazing. So thank you for the question.
All right, good. So just a reminder, if people want to know more about Jerry, to go to your website, jmacmedium.com. And I also, before we get to the next, we've got a few more questions that are up there too. I wanted to share our newest t-shirts. We have the white crew neck t-shirts. There we are. Ooh, just like you, I can't navigate it. There we go. And the volunteers, we're going to be selling them. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's nice.
The volunteers will be getting free t-shirts who help volunteer, because this is a big fair. We do need some assistance. And then we'll be selling those in the white crew necks at the Spirit Fest. So we're excited about that. So
will you be selling the yellow ones?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We'll be selling both. They're a little bit fitted. They're a little bit stretchy.
I just saw Spirit walk in front of your camera. That was amazing.
Did it have a gray striped tail?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I know.
That's Leo.
Yeah. It's like, oh my goodness, who was that?
All right, let's see. Tammy Conrad said thank you, by the way.
Oh, Tammy, my pleasure. Thank you.
Susan lost her mother recently, and in the last few days, she was still alive, but she was not able to open her eyes or talk.
Yeah.
And she's wondering, and this is not just a message from Spirit, but what actually is going on with people when that occurs?
Well, when I've never witnessed anybody dying. I haven't. My wife has. She's been in, and they say that a lot of times it's amazing. You can just see the relief. And so your mom saw everything, but not with her eyes, she says. She saw everything with her sixth sense. She knew who was in the room. She couldn't open her eyes, but she knew who was in the room. She couldn't talk, but she said it wouldn't have made sense. And so, and a lot of times, there's an archangel around her. Okay. The big one, Michael. Wonder how the other archangels feel that Michael always gets all the credit. I'm just kidding. But yeah, she heard, and everything that was whispered to her, and we always go, can they hear us? Can they hear? They can hear us. They may not be able to respond because of stimuli, because of the five senses, but this is when they're using their sixth sense. And they can almost tell who's in the room. And what they're doing, they're reading energy. What I'm hearing is she's reading energy, or they're making available to her. And she can tell by the energy. And she says, thank you so much. thank you so much for carrying out her last wishes, or her wishes be known.
Nice.
And so Susan, whatever part you had to play, and she's very, very proud of you. Proud of the young lady you've become.
Mm.
Proud of the mother that you are. Now, she could say, I don't have kids. She's proud of the mother. You don't have to have kids to be a mother.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it sounds silly, but you can mentor people. You can, but she said, proud of you and proud of the decisions you've made regarding your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they had to. Oh, I don't want to say it like this. Let me think of a better way to say it. Turn off the machine. I don't like unplug, because that's too,
Mm-hmm.
that's not respectful. So unplug the machine. Unplug the machine. Oh my God, I just said it. I'm so sorry. I'm such an idiot. Turn off the machine. Whatever you had to do, it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Stop the feeding to whatever.
Okay.
Because she needed permission, and you somehow gave her. There was one other person too. You and one other person gave her permission to go. And sometimes they wait for that permission. They just want to make sure everybody's okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then they go.
Mm-hmm.
And she loves you very much, very much.
Very nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Susan.
It's death. The death process, it seems really hard and really scary, and it is, especially when it's unexpected. And when there's we're never old enough, really. But the way that I view it, or try to explain it, is like high school graduation. And eventually, and again, this is an analogy, and because
that's a perfect analogy. That's perfect.
It's going to happen. You even work towards it. And it's something to be celebrated, but it also is the beginning of a completely new facet of your life. You're probably going to, not live at home anymore. Your dynamic with your family is going to change. You're literally graduating and going on to, hang on, I've got to block somebody here. Sorry.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And, oh yeah. So, so anyway, it really is something to be celebrated, even though it might seem like the timing is terrible. We feel like that we're going to miss the people. I think that, and I fully believe this, I can't prove it, but I fully believe with every fiber of my being, once we get to the other side, it's going to be just like, a snap of our fingers, in the scale of forever. And we had this experience, and it was wonderful, and it should be celebrated, and not make it so hard, when our time comes, unfortunately, because I do believe that we will see them again. Absolutely.
Yeah. It reminds me of what Steve Jobs,
Mm-hmm.
Apple guy, his last words before he died was, "Oh, wow. Oh, wow."
Mm-hmm.
And this was a guy who was one of the smartest people on earth. And so even my brother, who was a Methodist minister for 35 years, one time my sister-in-law passed by him. He had the covers pulled up here. She says, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm hiding from death." So there's two different stories now. We're all human, and we fear what's on the other side. And that's why using metaphysics gives us a lot of hope, more than what Richard Rohr calls the transactional church. Come to church. You have a problem, I have the solution. Come here. And but metaphysics gives us hope because of that sixth sense. And the people that I've seen cross gives us hope. And you have, and Graham and others, it gives us hope that they're okay. And I've seen, and so have you, so many suicides and so many children lost, and they're free. And all I can, I'm not saying it's better, or I don't know what I'm trying, but they're free. And and they come through and assure their parents or loved ones, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. Please get rid of the guilt and move on with your life with peace and happiness. Mm-hmm. And just know that I'm always nearby. Mm-hmm. And what's more important than that?
Right.
I mean, it's such beautiful stuff from the people who can teach us all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So
not humans having a spiritual experience. We
Yeah,
are
yeah,
spirits here having a human experience, and it was never made to be forever. It was just like, from birth to graduation from high school. It was always intended that we were going to graduate and we were
yeah,
going to move on, and it should be celebrated as an accomplishment that we experienced all that we did. This planet is always going to be one of duality. I don't think it's ever going to change. I think, and if and when it does, we're going to go to a higher dimension.
yeah. And you've just given me, I'll give you credit. I'm working on my third book. It's going to take a while because of all the research done. And I'm going to use that. Graduating into Death. That's what I'm going to call the chapter. I'm going to use you.
Okay.
I don't know if you won't get many residuals, Mary Ellen. I'm not a best-selling author.
It's okay.
I'll buy you a Big Mac or something, or a Happy Meal. I got a Happy
love
Meal.
a Big Mac.
Yeah. God, I miss Big Macs.
Yeah. So but it is hard. But some people fear death, and they spend their whole lives being afraid of it when we know it's going to come eventually anyway.
Yeah.
And if we could just relax about it, that would make every day more enjoyable. I think, that is something that I have heard from people that have crossed over, and you talk to more dead people than I, was that they realize how much time we waste worrying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at, real quick, the 7 basic human emotions, I won't name them, but the one I say kind of runs our life isn't joy or, surprise or contempt, angry, disgust, sadness. It's fear. Every day we're afraid of something, afraid of losing our job, afraid of not being able to pay the bills. The fear is real. I get it. But it's the one emotion that encompasses us. And I think most acts of violence are made out of fear. I really do. Fear on the other side, fear of someone who isn't the same color as we are, fear of someone who doesn't believe what we believe.
Or fear of lack.
Yeah. And so it's fear. So anyway.
No, and the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. And so we cannot be in unconditional love and be in fear at the same time. You have to pick one.
Because you can't. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's. You're right. It's all encompassing, and it just.
Yeah, it is.
I look at my brother. Well, who I looked at for so long is my big brother, and he was a Methodist minister for 35 years, retired about a year before he passed, and here he is with covers pulled up, telling Merle, his wife, "I'm hiding from death," and if you follow Christianity, not saying it, and even Jesus on the cross has doubts, thinks that God has abandoned him, has deserted him. And that's the humanness in it. We're human. But metaphysics gets us out of this human shell. It really does.
Yeah.
To use our sixth sense gifts to know, and spiritualism teaches you the continuity of life. Other religions do it too, but they also teach you there's a good place and a bad place. It's a different kind of continuity of life. But to talk about life continues, and our loved ones are okay.
Yes.
They're not languishing in hell and
purgatory.
Or purgatory. I wasn't a cradle Catholic, so I didn't have to go through that. So I was a convert.
Yeah.
I got $5 for converting.
When we're having an anxiety attack, or when we're consumed by, fear, that's how I would explain it, is your body's lying to you. Your body's making you think you're dying and you're not, because it's afraid. So your body is not the mind. So, when you can tell yourself, and sometimes I have a family member who shall not be named, sometimes will call me when she's in that place, because she knows I can shift her energy. Because if you can just shift your energy just a little bit to get out of that place, then you can think clearer, and then you can tell your body who's in charge, and it's not it. But I feel like that, you were talking about Jesus on the cross, and that's just what happened, was because, the pain and the fear and, the body shutting down and things like that, the body took over, and that is what caused him to doubt. And that's what, caused him to lose faith. And
so many physical therapists. I just had a fear of standing up because my blood pressure when I was in the hospital for 8 months would nosedive. And I thought, "Ah, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to live in the hospital for the rest of my life."
Mm-hmm.
And it was the physical therapists and the nurses that saw the spirit, which cannot be measured by numbers and machines and stuff. And they said, "You got this." And did I give up? You damn right I did. I gave up all the time because I'm human, and I was afraid. And it was fear that was running my life. And finally, I said, I'm kind of sick of this. I didn't get up and start doing, an Irish jig.
Right.
Still can't do an Irish jig. I never could do an Irish jig, quite honestly. So I don't know why I would suddenly be reborn and start doing an Irish jig. But I mean, and slowly but surely, the breathing and spirit, and and here I am.
Yeah, here you are.
Here I am.
Amazing. You really are amazing, and we appreciate you.
Well, we all are. Thank you, though. Thank you.
So we're about out of time here, and I'm going to wrap up with an unrelated question that somebody asked that I thought was interesting. But just to remind everybody, Sanctuary FL is our website. Please go to that and find more information about Spirit Fest in Orlando, weekend after next, April 10th and 11th. At Avanti Palms near International Drive with 60 booths. That is going to be the biggest metaphysical fair that's been in Central Florida in quite some while. And these are 60 confirmed vendors. So we don't just have room for 60, we might get half. These are definitely a lot of
it's not like going to Walmart and there's 20 checkout lanes, they got 3 open.
Right. And then to find Jerry, www.jmacmedium.com. That's how you can get in touch with Jerry. You can find information about getting private readings with him. And back to Spirit Fest, Jerry is doing a mediumship gallery Sunday morning, and we'll be there signing his books for everyone, whether you've attended the gallery or not. So that'll be a great opportunity to meet Jerry in person. So, and I thank everybody for being here. Yeah. So kind of unrelated to this, but circling back to the beginning of our show and our new owl, that's our countdown for us. Nicole was asking if you knew why people might reference owls to aliens. That's kind of a common thing when you see that symbol.
Oh, I don't know. I'd be honest. I'm ignorant of that. I've not heard of that. I'm sorry. Unless there's some special connection, but I don't know.
I know that sometimes animals will make themselves known when there's a spirit around, or sometimes it's just a message that you need to hear in general.
Yeah.
But I will end the show with sharing an experience that happened to us. My daughter's father had passed away a year before she graduated from high school. And when she had her graduation, it was in a tent that held 800 people. It was like a circus tent. It's one of the biggest tents that you would ever see. And you saw this butterfly come in one side of the tent, way over on the other side, and you watched it come in, and you couldn't help but notice it. It looked like something out of a Disney movie. It was those big swallowtail butterflies. And it came in and it fluttered around, and then it came over to where the kids were seated, because they were in the center in the front, and then it hovered over them. It just flew all over them. And as soon as I saw it, I said, that's somebody.
Yeah.
And then it came over, and sure enough, it came right over, and I was sitting next to my sister, and it came right in front of us, and it dropped down so close. I put my hand up thinking that it might actually land on my hand. And then it just stayed there. It hovered a little bit, and then it just went out and went on its way. And that night, my sister, she's not super into this, but she said, that was Emily's dad, right? So, but
yeah, and that's another sign of spirit communication. There really is. And real quick, I did a reading, I don't know, a couple of months ago. And the lady said, we're doing a memorial for this. It was a coworker of hers that unfortunately took his own life, and she was real close to him. And they're going to do a memorial for him. And she said, what kind of sign do you think he was sent? And if I've said this message, I apologize. And or given his story. And I could see the man, he was talking to her. see the gentleman. He said a black bird. I went, you know how many black birds there are in the sky?
Right.
That's like saying, my sign to you is a cloud. All the cloud. And I said, can you choose another? And it's almost like Spirit said, trust him, a black bird. And she sent me a picture outside of the memorial. It's a fence. It's this huge black bird staring at her. It wasn't a normal bird. I don't know what kind of bird it was because I'm not a bird watcher. I'm not an expert bird. That's another way Spirit can communicate.
Yeah.
And that gives us comfort. And I think a lot of times going to a medium can, I have other gifts than mediumship, so that maybe my mediumship isn't as strong as other people's, but going to a medium can give you some comfort. It really can. So please test out the readers at Spirit Fest or at Sarasota, Melbourne, and
yes,
all the others.
On the website, we've got the dates and everything for all of those different events. But that's why we do what we do, is to get that confirmation. Yeah. And knowing that their life goes on, and that we will see our loved ones again. Everything is really just temporary. So I find that very heartening. So anyway, all right. Thank you everybody for being with us tonight. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Jerry. And then I guess I'll see you in 2 weeks, which I think will be around the 14th. We will put up a reminder. Looks like the 14th, 2 weeks from today.
Come to Spirit Fest. Join us.
Okay. All right. Good night, everybody.
God bless. Happy Easter for those celebrating Easter.
Yes. Thank you.